Hey, what's up guys? So this is the Fujifilm 1.4 and no, this is not a review because this lens has been reviewed about 500 billion times on YouTube, and I think we all can agree this is Fujifilm's best lens ever. Now, since owning this lens for about a few months now, I just wanted to share with you some experiences I've had with this lens. Be sure to watch till the end of the video because I'm going to share with you some photos I've taken with this mighty lens. So let's first talk about the 24mm field of view that the 16mm lens have. Now, people often forget that this is not a 24mm lens. This is a 16mm lens. So it's going to have that ultra wide angle kind of distortion. So if you're shooting pictures of people, be sure to put them toward the center of the frame instead of the edges, because if they're on the edge, well, they're going to look kind of weird. The 24mm equivalent that this lens offers is not everyone's favorite focal length. It's hard. It's a hard focal length to learn. And any really wide angle lens is not the most easiest. But you just have to stick out with it and keep using it. Otherwise, you're never going to learn this focal length. I've seen this lens for sale so many times, and I think so many people get discouraged when they shoot with this lens. It's just, they buy it and they have it for a week or two, then they're like, it's not for me, it's too hard to shoot with. And they go back to shooting with their 35mm or 56 or something like that, because that's where they feel the most comfortable at. But with this lens, you have to step out of your comfort zone. Otherwise, you're never going to get good photos with this lens. You just have to do it. And it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. You just have to put this on your camera and bring it with you everywhere and shoot as much as you can with it, so you can really understand this lens. And you know what? I'm still struggling with it. It's hard for me too. But man, there's something special about this lens, and I could never ever sell it. This lens will always have a place in my bag. Let's talk about size and weight. When you first get this lens, it is not the most lightest lens in the world, and it's definitely not the most smallest. Actually, let me take off this lens hood here. But it's kind of funny because I was watching a YouTube video the other day about this lens, and the guy was saying how light and small this lens is. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not that light. It's not that small. But then I started remembering, it's been 3 or 4 years since I've shot with full frame, and I forgot how heavy full frame lenses are. By that comparison, this lens is actually pretty small and pretty lightweight for a 16mm 1.4. It's actually quite a marvel of a lens, and Fujifilm definitely hit the nail on the head with this one here. Oh, it's so nice. The third thing about this lens that I love, actually this should be the first thing about this lens that I really love, and that is the close focus capability. Man, you can shoot super close with this lens, it's like that close. It is insane. You can do pseudo macro with this, which means you can get some really interesting photos. It's pretty awesome. You definitely gotta try it out. I would not recommend this lens as a first lens. If you just got into photography and you bought a Fujifilm camera, this is probably not going to be your favorite first lens. You're going to want to probably shoot with the 18-55 or the 35 f2 and get to know those first before you invest in the mighty 16. The only really negative thing I found about this lens after using it for a few months now is the focus clutch. This is just weird to me. It's not my favorite thing about this lens, that is for sure. It's handy when you want to do like Milky Way shots, because you can fine tune your focus at the infinity side, which is really nice. But when you want to make adjustments on the fly when you're shooting something, and especially up close in low light, when it just wants to hunt a little bit and just doesn't want to lock the focus in as you intended, this kind of makes it a pain in the ass. If I'm being frank here, I wish there was a better implementation of a focus clutch type thing here on the Fujifilm cameras, because when I'm in AFS mode and I want to make a fine adjustment, I pull the focus ring back, but it only gives me a limited focus range, and that's really irritating. In order to get the full focus range, you have to switch the camera to manual focus mode, and then you have the full focus range. It's a minor thing, but it's not gonna stop me from shooting with this lens. Nuh-uh. I've been having an absolute blast shooting with this lens. Taking this lens with me as much as I can, even though it's a little bit bigger than I kind of want for my mirrorless camera, but the images, the sharpness, the colors this lens renders is incredible. I've never seen anything like it. The closest thing that I can remember is the Nikon 20mm 1.8 I've owned in the past, and that lens was incredible in its own self. But man, I think this is even better. Having that 1.4 aperture, especially when you're shooting at low light, it's mind-blowing, even on a crop sensor. It opens up a world of possibilities when using this lens. This lens is just awesome. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just freaking amazing. So be sure to keep watching, because I'm going to share with you some pictures I've taken with this lens. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, be sure to do so if you want to see more content like this. See you guys in the next one.